We are here with Joyce Bremer, RE/MAX Jeff City, and we're talking about Broker Services Commission. Joyce, thanks for visiting with us today. As you know, the listing, we're familiar with the list, charging it on the listing side, but the buyer side, is brand new for us. We're just getting ready to implement it, and we are here just to get your take on what you've experienced charging a Broker Services Commission on the buyer side. How long have you been doing that?
I've been collecting a broker services fee for 7 years. We started years ago. We actually went down and visited you, Jeff, and we always like to visit a team each year, and you told me to go to a Howard Britton class. And so I went there, and they were doing all kinds of extras, like sending them cookies and great brochures and flyers and closing gifts, and I wondered, how could they do that and still afford to make what they make? Well, these good instructors there said they were charging a processing fee, which of course, I was scared to do, but I kind of wanted to give a little bit of that wow service. So 7 years ago, I started to do that, and kind of how they related it to me is, when you go to a nicer hotel, you pay a little nicer fee, but you get wows. You get the nice linens, shampoos, coffees, all that. Well, that's what I wanted my clients to experience. I wanted to charge that fee, and I wanted to give them some of the wows. So we implemented it 7 years ago. Scared to death to do it. But it was easy. Once we started, 95% of the time, no one even questioned it.
When you implemented it 5 years ago or 7 years ago, how much did you charge at that time?
At that time, I was charging $150, and that's what we've charged up until the last year, until RE/MAX had implemented the $195. And so at that point in time, I know that I had to add on top of what RE/MAX was charging. So now we charge $375. And again, I was a little scared to do it, but put it on my listing agreement, and 95% of the time, not a person asks.
Wow. So is that the overall impact of that been beneficial?
Oh, absolutely. Again, just like before, I'm able to keep my income where it needs to be, but again, I take that extra money that I collect for the processing fee, and as soon as we get a listing or a property goes under contract, they get homemade cookies delivered to their office. Again, I get the credit for doing in a roundabout way.
Get the wow. Why didn't you tell me, Joyce? Why didn't you tell me?
Well, hey, thanks to you. You're the one that sent me to the Howard Britton class 7 years ago.
Joyce, there may be agents who are reluctant or maybe scared of implementing this. What advice would you give to them?
Well, I think confidence, is number one. So I think if you practice and get your scripts together and be prepared. I think, too, I don't focus a lot on it. If you make it a big deal, then they will. If you don't, they tend to not. So, again, I go through my listing agreement and I say, this is the $375 broker services fee, and then I go on to the next line, and I just don't get questioned. If I do, I kind of go into my script a little bit that, basically, RE/MAX provides us with extra advertising, extra internet exposure, that again, it's going to bring more buyers to their property. Again, more buyers, typically more money, more activity, and, it also provides us extra education. So, we can, again, represent them better. Of course, we've got extra staff in our office, so they're well taken care of, and a little bit more sophisticated feedback program. So if we get, we get more feedback, and we can analyze that, and it's helpful in getting their home sold. So
well, your sharing helps us tremendously. So we really appreciate that.
And thank you all for sharing.